How's it going, everyone? It's Liam Caddison here. It's another episode of Charmed. It's episode 16 of season 7. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think much happened in this episode, right? Right? No, in all seriousness, quite a big episode. Big returning face returning in this episode. Which, of course, I was warned about in regards to, okay, I need you to look away because you don't want to be spoiled and all of that. So, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, that would have been a bummer, wouldn't it? Like, oh, insert character here is returning. So, but you can check out my reaction to that character returning in the description below and the comment pinned, basically, where you will also find the poll for the season, well, what's going to replace Charmed once I am done with season 8. Episode 7, I believe, of season 8 should be available on Patreon, as well as the fact that the full episode of this episode will be available on Patreon as well. So, yeah, but like I said, you can find the links to my reaction and what will come after Charmed in the description and the comments below. Leave your thoughts to this episode. It's going to be very interesting because it was quite a doozy of an episode. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take good care of yourselves, and until the next time, toodles! So yeah, I really thought that this was a pretty fun episode to go through. Pretty surprising to have, well, not just Cole return, just in itself, really. And you were just wondering what they were going to do with this whole episode with Cole. But also to see him be a bit of an influence in regards to Drake and all of that. So, yeah. See, I'm not sure how people would feel about that in regards to Drake and his presence to Phoebe, because of the fact that this was orchestrated by Cole. They might feel like this could taint that relationship in some way because of the fact that this is, like I said, it's not as if Cole came back or possessed Drake in some capacity. Drake's feelings were his own and all of that. But of course, there was, it was like, yeah, because you see where I'm going with this when it's like, well, would Drake have stepped into their lives voluntarily in terms of wanting to have a bit of a thing with Phoebe? So it was kind of orchestrated, and there does become that feeling where it does feel a little bit tainted in some degree. At the same time, there is an act of hope for Cole in regards that Phoebe's going to be able to try and find love, because he's been able to acknowledge the fact that Phoebe's just been finding it a bit difficult, as have all of the Charmed ones, I guess. But with Cole being in limbo and him obviously being the closest to Phoebe in terms of, who I guess, yeah, in terms of like Piper and Paige, he needed to help her out. So yeah, and Drake was the key. So yeah, I mean, Drake still should have been the person that Phoebe should have had. Like and it's so funny though, because he kind of did remind. I think I did make a comment about the fact that he did kind of remind me of Cole. Now we know why. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, Drake had his charm and all of that, and he was a really, really good fit for Phoebe. Of course, if you want to eliminate the orchestration done by Cole and all of that, hey, yeah, you look at some of the stuff that the interactions, the chemistry between Phoebe and Drake, and it's like, I wish you wished he was able to stick around until the very end of the show, I guess. So I guess this episode wouldn't have existence if that were the case and all of that, but because you know, it. I mean, of course, there was not this element of focus for Paige in this episode, but I'm sure that will change at some point in terms because the message is all about that whole situation of love conquers all and all of that, and that with the sisters, they are all a bit downbeat in regards to how they've tackled love. And even when you're in a position like Piper and Leo, where you're married, you got kids, it's not a guarantee that you're going to spend forever with a happily ever after element, right? Considering the fact that Leo was being tested. So, but and it was a really really great element to focus on the whole factor of the charmed ones thinking of giving up on love, because I've been there a couple of times where I've just been in a position where love I don't think is a thing for me. So, but of course, of course, it's a situation where love will find a way at some point, right? And you just gotta give it a little bit of hope. You just gotta be try to be as optimistic as possible, even in the bleakest of days. Something I could have told myself years ago, but of course, when you're in that moment, you just feel like there's nothing. There's no way. There's no foreseeable way that things are going to turn around, and that's what the Charmed Ones were going through. With their history and all of that, with Phoebe, of course, and you've got to account for Cole especially. So, but of course, these last couple of seasons of Leslie with Jace, it's just a reminder that she could there is that moment where she feels like I could have this, and then it just slips away due to certain circumstances. So, yeah, and with Paige, obviously, I mean, there was Richard, and that was a bit more of, and that was a bit of a tragic situation in terms of his power trip and all of that. But there's also been a few occasions where she's tried to conjure Mr. Right, for example, and obviously that didn't I was, and that was another situation where I kind of wish he would stay, kind of like with Drake. Obviously, Drake's situation is a bit more dire with the fact that, but yeah, I mean, with Paige, I'm sure there might be something down the line, given the fact that, like I said, this episode tended to focus on Phoebe, and Piper. Piper more so, given the fact that she was in the middle of this whole kerfuffle with Cole, in terms of his plot to hopefully, be able to give that kind of inspiration really to Phoebe, but also with Leo and his predicament, there was that hope that Leo would find his way to Piper. So yeah, but I mean, it's obviously going to make sense that Cole is still going to love Phoebe. So yeah. And obviously, there are going to be quite a few people who have had some very very strong comments about how Cole was treated and all of that. And even in this episode, there is that whole situation of examples where Cole chose to become the source of all evil, because I don't think that was the case. So yeah. But, there's been quite a few occasions where Cole has... It's just been a very, very tricky journey, hasn't it, when it comes to Cole and Phoebe's relationship. That is not entirely Cole's fault at the end of the day. And yet, there are certain dialogue pieces that make it seem that way. Like in this episode, for example, but in the past, it's not like this episode is an outlier in terms of, okay, let's hate Cole and all of that. There have been many examples in the past and all of that, which I'm sure, there might be a compilation on YouTube somewhere in terms of, how, Cole was blamed, how Cole was in the wrong when he wasn't, etc. So, yeah. because, like I said, I know there's quite a bunch of people who are quite vocal about how the I guess anti-Cole thing has been going on, and so they might look at this kind of redemption story that Cole has in this episode, and they might think, redeemed for what? I mean, it's not your fault that you became the source of all evil and all of that, and things just went down the toilet. Because that's it, though. It's not like he was like, you know what? Hey, just inhabit my body, because, yeah, it's all fun and games. So, yeah. And it just does, it just does like suck, doesn't it? Where there is this kind of blame for Cole, like especially being the source of all evil. So yeah, when in fact there was that possession. So, and that's usually how things work when it comes to possession, where contrary to the blame, you don't get a say in the matter. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there can still be room for guilt at the end of the day, like Cole was going through. Like, Cole was still putting blame on himself, but I feel like there can still be room for self-blame. So, and seeing where Phoebe is at in terms of her love life, I mean, he does care for Phoebe. So seeing where Phoebe is at in her love life, that can really push forward the narrative of self-blame for Cole, understandably. Because there might be that situation where even if it's not 100% your fault and all of that, you can still perceive it as that, right? I mean, yeah. It's a thing that can happen with quite a few people. Like me, for example, I self-blame myself for stuff every so often because, yeah, it's that low self-esteem side of me, which is all fun. So, but no, with Cole, obviously, there's been a lot of kerfuffle going on, and yeah, so, but it was very, very great to see him back, and at the end of the day, his ulterior motive was to help Piper. That was it. But it was also to help Piper, to help Phoebe, because with Piper, he needs Leo and Piper to get back together in order to give Phoebe that inspiration. So you can see where it can be a bit convoluted in terms of what I'm saying. He wants to help Piper. But in doing so, he wants to help Phoebe, because in helping Piper and Leo back together, it helps Phoebe. So yeah. So yeah, he doesn't want Phoebe to have that loneliness, and just because he's suffering from it doesn't mean that Phoebe should. So inspiration, boom. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was pretty great stuff. And then, of course, there was the whole Leo situation with him getting his memory whammied. And then there was that guy, White Lighter, who was manipulating shit. And I'm like, you son of a... Yeah. As soon as... Because you realized what he was going to do. He's like, I heard you did this, right? I heard you did that, etc. And, I think, like, there were, like... subtle bits and pieces that he made in terms of trying to guide Leo into, picking the White Lighter side, or the Elder side, should I say. Me and my guys were heading north. I think you would, benefit there. So, yeah. But I mean, it was just you had that woman White Lighter who was like guiding, like she was like I said, she was low key rooting for Leo to thrive and all of that. So obviously Piper is not going to take too kindly after she explained everything. But there was that little push forward. Don't give up on hope. She was low-key rooting. Like, she was low-key wanting Leo out of here. Not because, Leo sucks or whatever, but I think it's because she knows that Leo will be happiest with Piper and his two sons. And this gets a lot of heat off his back, anyways. Because I would imagine if we had the dark ending and Leo was like, you know what? No, I'm going to be committed to the elders. There would still be a few people who were questioning things, like even if he was, given a clean slate and all of that. So, but this is for his own good. At the end of the day, I feel like in her perception, the woman White Light, I've forgotten her name, but yeah, this is beneficial for him, not just in terms of for his own good, but in terms of this is giving him what he wants, and yeah, so. It was really, really great for her to kind of root for the sisters, whilst the other one was like trying to he was trying to steer things along, wasn't he? So yeah, but yeah, I mean that was full blown manipulation as well. But I'm not surprised. It's an elder thing, isn't it? Where they're so arrogant and all of that, and yeah, they'll take matters. They'll like to be very, very pedantic when it comes to accommodating things to suit their narrative. Like when it came to Piper and Leo marrying, they had to have a say. They didn't like that, and they got really, really pissy about it. So, because they think that the way that things work for them, it ain't broke. So why bother fixing it? So, yeah. And then here we are in this episode. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to try and railroad Leo's decision. So, yeah. And even when, Paige and Phoebe, when they encountered Leo, yeah, they were like, nope, too late. He's already chosen. Bye. So, it was really, really great that they were able to try and, get to Leo in the end. So, yeah, but, yeah. So, and I really, really loved that fake out there where, obviously it seemed like Piper died, but, Drake, it didn't help with Drake saying it's too late because, it's already healed. He's so, see, shit like this is why Drake removed the whole Cole manipulation, as well as I guess the ticking time bomb that he's on. It'd be great for him to stick around, but alas, so yeah. But no, this was a really, really great episode. A great way to celebrate 150 episodes. So love conquers all. Don't we know it? But yeah, great stuff. So I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my VG Feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time.